my feelings are not hurt that the kids are going back to school. I'm excited for that. And that means fall sports are here. And speaking of high school sports and speaking of schools, Desert Hills senior now. Is it weird to hear that? Beau Wall is joining us in studio. Beau, good morning, bud.
Good morning, Devin. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And obviously back to school for you. You ready? Senior year, here we go.
Yeah, I think I'm, pumped to be on campus for the senior year.
Hopefully we're not causing you to miss class this morning. Tell me that's not the case.
That is not the case.
Okay, good. You got open first period. That happens when you're a senior, a little lighter load, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
I hear a lot of the kids now are doing a lot of online classes too versus in class. Do you have like a few in class and a few online? Is that how it goes nowadays?
Yeah, I think it kind of just allows you, especially with like athletes, to kind of like pick your schedule. And so, I mean, it's definitely pretty convenient and I'm thankful for it. So
normally we would probably be the week of high school football firing up, but you're not playing football anymore. You stopped playing football towards the end of last season last year. You've been putting all your emphasis into baseball. You guys got a lot of seniors coming back over the D Hills. Should have a great chance to make a run for a state championship. But last week I saw on social media you committed, and I want you to take us through kind of that process, what that was like for you, and tell everybody where you're going.
Yeah, so I've committed to play baseball at the United States Air Force Academy, and that was a long time coming. I had a beautiful summer baseball playing with Trotsky National and the Brewers scout team. Shout out to Coach Abe. So he helped me figure out coaches. I had a lot of different options and ways I could have gone for college, but Air Force just aligned with the morals and kind of just what I wanted to do in college, and so it was the right fit for me.
Was there other coaches that you had to like call back or text back and say, hey, thanks for recruiting me, but I've chose Air Force?
Yeah, it was like worse than a breakup. Like with a
girlfriend.
Was hard? Yeah, it was hard because, I mean, I love building relationships, and so I built a lot of different relationships just over the last couple years, being recruited and whatnot, and so being like, hey, coach, like I'm not going to come to your school, like that was definitely hard. But they were all very, class acts, obviously, and just like, hey, wish you the best, like keep in touch. So
for you, it seems like it's really hard, but for them, that happens to them a lot, right? They win kids, they lose kids. They're probably used to that. They've been in a lot of breakup relationships before with athletes.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Beau Wall, Desert Hills, 6'2", 205 right now. Where you at?
I like to say 6'3" because it's like 6'2.5". So we'll say 6'3" and then just 205.
205 right now?
On a good day, yeah.
When did you decide to put all of your eggs into the baseball basket? And was that a last fall decision? Like, take me through that. I mean, you've always been a two-way athlete. In fact, you were playing three sports for a long time, right?
Yes, sir. So growing up, played basically everything I could, from tennis to swimming to, football, baseball. I mean, we could go down the list, but
I didn't know you were a swimmer.
Dude, I was nasty.
Really? The next Michael Phelps. You could have been the next Michael Phelps.
Could have. Yeah, so I think I was happy to put all of my high school football memories in a box with winning state with Coach Barry, and Coach Eggleston, and then freshman year too, great relationships with Noah Fuailatolo, and just I had a lot of great relationships. And then as it kind of just came down to crunch time, it's such a big commitment to play football. And so I was happy to put all those memories in a box and put it on a shelf and really dedicate to baseball.
It's kind of interesting because where you're not playing football this year, one of your baseball teammates, we're hearing Hagen Reed, who's an unbelievable talent, and obviously the power numbers and everything, and you want him to have a big year. He's going to be an integral part of your baseball program over there for Kevin Cave. He's going to play football from what I understand.
Yes, sir. So I'm just hoping he stays healthy and has a blast senior year. I totally get the idea of wanting to do a different sport senior year. You only get one senior year, so I hope he has fun.
Yeah. Have you talked to him about it at all?
We've talked briefly. I know he's pretty psyched about it, so I'm happy for him.
I saw a lot of your teammates. I know I saw guys like Jace Fillmore played a lot of summer baseball. I know there's a number of other guys that were out there playing for a different club and travel teams this summer. I mean, there's high hopes and high expectations for you guys on the baseball diamond this coming spring.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting. Everybody on our team's kind of played on the same team except for me, but obviously still keeping in touch with them because, we're brothers. And so I think on the group chat and everything, it's kind of just been high expectations this year, obviously, and I think it's good that we got a lot of confidence going into it, but we also can't allow that to, hurt us in any way.
Going back to the commitment there for you, Beau, I mean, going to the Air Force Academy, clearly it's one of the armed forces. I mean, What was kind of that decision process like? Was that something that you were considering, and was it something that you were excited to do? Was it something more of like a burden to do? And I know not so much a burden, but for some players, it's like, oh man, it's just a qualification. It's just something you have to do. What was your process like when it came to deciding about the Air Force Academy?
So most of my uncles actually on my mom's side went to a military academy, all but one. And so 7 of my uncles went to a military academy, whether that be VMI, West Point, Naval Academy, Air Force. And so I kind of have always had that in the back of my head, like, do I want to go to a military academy? And then Coach Kaz and Coach Dawson and Coach Lacombe, just the morals of the school and not just wanting to develop me as a baseball player. I think I could have gone to a lot, you could say, better baseball development schools, but they're not going to develop you as a person in the long run. And so that was a massive selling bit for me. But they were also, it was more of a spiritual experience because they were the only school that wanted me to go on a mission and serve an LDS mission right out of high school. A lot of coaches would have tolerated it, and I still had a lot of options where I could have gone on a 2-year mission out of high school and gone and played college ball at a different place. But Coach Kaz was adamant, I want you to serve a mission. And so that was definitely a big selling point as well.
What were some of the other schools that you were considering as you narrowed down your list? Like, who are the other top 3 schools that were right there before you chose Air Force?
I mean, I don't want to exactly say who, but I definitely had some, we could say, ex-Pac-12 schools that were up there and definitely in the running. I mean, but I wanted to make an impact early on as well, and those schools recruit highly. And so you got to understand that coming off a 2-year mission, you're probably going to be a little rusty. And I want to go to a place where I had an opportunity to compete as freshman and sophomore.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like a lot of high school kids, they get, D1 in their heads or high D1, and they might have to sit for, a year or 2, or in some cases 3. And sometimes they never even see the field, where if they would have went to an FCS school or a smaller school, they could have made an impact earlier. I love to hear that from you because it sounds like you put a lot of time and thought into this whole process.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of prayer, thought, and just conversing with mentors and people I trust and people that I know, only are in it for Beau. And at the end of the day, it's just kind of what it came down to. And I'm super blessed and happy that's where I ended up landing. So
you tell me about your summer. How'd you hit it? Did you mainly catch, or did you play a little bit elsewhere?
Yeah, so all the recruits are just looking at me for catching utility. So it's mainly catching, but I played a little bit of right field, center field, third base, first base, and even left. But I'd say like 85% of my time was catching, and I played with the Milwaukee Brewers scout team this summer. And I really enjoyed playing with a bunch of kids that, I think we have 8 or 9 guys that are draft prospects on that team. And just being around guys like that, learning how to compete like that, I mean, complete blessing for me.
Yeah. You feel like you grew a lot this summer?
Yeah, definitely grew a lot. Definitely understood the college world a lot. I mean, it's kind of like, not real until you start to like talk to coaches and kind of understand what recruiting's like and everything like that. So I definitely grew a lot in that area as well.
You made your commitment a little earlier than you had to. Was that something you wanted to just knock off your to-do list before school started, per se?
In a way, but it was also just kind of speaks to the level of certainty I had with the school. Just like, I don't believe that there's a better option for me. I don't know if there's a school in the U.S. that would have, came forward and be like, hey, we want you to come play for us, and would have pulled me away from the Air Force Academy. I also have one of my best friends, Miles Layton, who lives up north, who will also go on a 2-year mission and then go play baseball for them. And he's a pitcher, and he's like a brother to me. So that was also somewhat of a pull.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Beau Wall, Desert Hills, starting a senior season today, starting a senior year today. School back in session. Air Force is where Beau will be playing next level college baseball. Until then, what's the plan, man? Just be a kid, stay in the weight room, get in the cages a lot this fall? Yeah,
I mean, that's basically the goal. I got some classes that'll help prepare me for the Air Force Academy academics, as they are pretty rigorous. So doing a few classes like computer systems, but outside of that, just staying in the cage, stay catching, just kind of build off of what I had last year. So
love it. Beau Wall, everybody. We'll see you around, and thanks for the time, and congratulations, man. Exciting for you, your family, and everybody involved. And the Air Force is going to be lucky to have you. When do you put your mission papers in? Do you have a time frame? That'll be in the spring sometime?
Yeah, so what we're shooting for is to put them in December, kind of understand where I'm going in December, and then in June leave.
Yeah.
Because I got to be back for boot camp, which starts in the beginning of July.
So got to get out there.
Gotta get out.
Get back in time.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to be a pilot, or you don't care?
Completely in the cards. I would love to be a pilot.
Are you too big to be a pilot? Aren't they always like 5'2" and little guys?
Dude, when we went there, they'd pull cadets aside, and there's just some more. I mean, Paul Skeens went there. He was he flew a little bit, and so I was like, I'm not bigger than that guy, so I better be able to fly.
That's true.
But I'm doing my first free solo dive actually out of their plane next time I go up, so I'm excited for that.
Really?
Yes, sir.
There are some perks.
There are some perks.
They can get your heart rate up a little bit. Beau Wall, everybody. Thanks for coming by, and get to class, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Beau Wall, everybody. Air Force Academy. But first things first, we get to see him for one more season this spring for the Desert Hills Thunder. Got to take a break, come back. Lots more coming up before we get you back to the rest of your Infinity broadcasting. We're not done on the drive. We'll be back with lots more sports talk on a Monday on the Fan Sports Network.